everybody. Tamara Holloway here, Diamond Ambassador. Before we get started on this Going for Gold series, day 2, I want to give a shout out for our Silver and Six series that we put out 3 or 4 months ago. If you have not yet watched those videos and worked through those activities, I want to highly encourage you to make that a priority as well, because it really does provide some great tips, some really fantastic foundational things for you as you're growing, regardless of what rank you are. In fact, I had many Jules reach out to me and say, this was so helpful. These were things that I had kind of forgot about or quit doing or gave me really great new ideas to kind of spur on my creativity as a leader. So I really want to encourage you to make that series as a priority as well. So as we were talking through this Going for Gold, we talked about many different things and tips and just wisdom and encouragement we wanted to offer in this series as you grow towards gold and then definitely beyond gold. These things are applicable as well. So one of the things that I really wanted to focus on is leadership. And I know when I was focused on growing myself as a leader, I had to understand first what went into leadership. 3 incredibly important things in growing your leadership. And of course, this isn't the end all be all. There's numerous things, but the 3 I want to focus on today is resiliency, having vision, and then cultivating a personal development plan. So let's discuss resiliency for just a second. To be resilient, this is actually the definition, is being able to spring back into shape after being bent, stretched, being compressed. So to be a strong leader, you have to be resilient. You have to be committed and you have to be consistent, period. We have to learn from our struggles and our failings, and we have to be resilient through them. So I want to share with you all a piece of my story back when I was a brand new gold ambassador. I'm going to try to keep it short because I could probably talk about this for half an hour alone. But back when I was a brand new gold ambassador many years ago, I actually almost quit Plexus. I talked about it. I threatened it. I said it over and over again to my husband, to my upline. I think I'm just going to quit. And the reason for that is because I was really discouraged. I was looking left. I was looking right. I was seeing that there were other people in this business who were going faster than me. Or I was comparing different qualities that I saw in them. And instead of celebrating my strengths and the things that I was good at, I was more focused on the things that I was lacking. Also, I was really scared of failing. I had such a hope to be successful in this business that I found it almost easier to think about quitting and giving up versus being resilient and pushing forward, because what if I fail? That was the resounding thought in my mind. What if I fail? And so overall, the emotion I was feeling was fear and discouragement. And listen, in this business, we will most definitely have and feel discouragement. I mean, goodness, y'all, this is a people business and people are going to disappoint us. One thing that was so difficult for me for years was the realization that most people want instant results. And when they don't achieve instant results, they quit. We live in a microwave society. People want things quick, be that the business or the products. I've seen it happen both. I've seen people with wide-eyed dreams, you guys, of being a jewel or being a diamond. But then someone says no, or maybe someone ignores their reach out messages, or maybe they get some negative feedback on social media and they feel paralyzed. And what we need to grasp is the beauty of resiliency and commitment, even when things aren't easy. I want to strongly encourage you to resist that urge to become paralyzed when failures or discouragement cross your path, because it's going to, and it's going to happen your entire journey. So instead, take those hard things and seek to learn from them and then ultimately grow through them as a person and as a leader. That is one of the things that I had to do when I was in that place of fear of failure, discouragement from the way my business was going. I had to learn what resiliency was and quit making excuses. An important lesson from that time was to stop allowing my emotions to dictate my actions. So if I had allowed the fear of failure or the many excuses that I came up with in that time, I wouldn't be a diamond in Plexus. I wouldn't be sharing here with you right now. This business, let me tell y'all, it is not built on the days that you feel like working, the days that you feel like you're motivated to do this. It is built on the days when you feel the least inspired. So stop allowing your lack of motivation to dictate your day. Stop allowing your lack of motivation to paralyze you, and allow your dream instead to dictate those daily actions. So I also want to talk about vision for ourselves, right? And for our teams. You have to have a clear vision of where you want to take your team and then how you're going to get there. If you don't have a vision of where you are headed, obviously we can't help others get to where they want to go, right? So if you find yourself working without a purpose, you're likely to come up against roadblocks, you guys, discouragement that you're not going to be able to work around. Your vision may be from a points growth perspective, or maybe it's from a navigation perspective. And what do I mean by that? Where's my team lacking? Where do they need to grow as leaders themselves? Is there a duplication issue in my team? Is there a retention issue? Is there a recruiting issue? Maybe it's a personal development issue. And as a leader, how can I personally help them grow in these areas? How, as a leader, can I come alongside and help form their vision for themselves and their business, right? We have to first, though, have a clear path on how to get from point A to point Z, and then how to help others do the same. So do you have a clear vision of where you are headed in your business and where you want to take your team? If not, that starts with you. So maybe it looks like sitting down, taking some time mapping out what vision looks like for you. Maybe you grab a trusted friend, an accountability partner, a sideline power partner, maybe your upline to help you with this. If you feel stuck, ask yourself a few questions. What's important to me? What am I passionate about? What are my strengths in this business? Maybe what do I want my team culture to look like? Where do I want to see myself in this business and as a leader in 6 months, 12 months? What areas do I need to grow in to get where I want to go? So those are all things that we need to have a clear vision on if we are going to be able to map out where we are headed in our own journey, where we are headed as a leader, and then how we're going to take our team along with us. The last thing I want to touch on, and probably what I'm most passionate about, is having a personal development plan. So long before Plexus, I recognized the potential in this industry of network marketing because I was seeing it happen for some. There was a girl that I followed on Facebook who was with Arbonne, and I saw her driving her white Mercedes around. She was going to Hawaii, and I was so inspired by it. I was so intrigued that, wow, this looks like the dream job. And it is, right? It is. But when I was in that season of being paralyzed by fear, I was asking myself the wrong questions. Even inspired and even motivated, I was asking myself things like, does this really work? Will this work for me? Can I actually do this thing? Do I have the influence or the network to do these things? The answer to all of those questions, you guys, are yes. Yes, this can work. Yes, this does really work. Yes, I can do this thing. But that was the wrong question for me. The right question would be more, am I willing to do what it takes to be successful? Am I willing to become the person that I need to become? Personal leadership is about who you have to become. If you hear anything else I say in this video, who you are is how you lead. And in order to grow leaders, you have to first grow yourself. You have to first grow your own leadership. And to do that, you need to have a personal development plan, right? John Maxwell shared a story just recently at convention that really stuck with me, and I've thought about it numerous times since then. He shared how he was years into his career, and a man approached him and basically said, I want to do what you do. And he was like, well, of course you do. I am a best-selling author. I am a leadership coach. I travel all over the world and speak to people. I've made a lot of money with all of this, all these books I've written and these speaking roles. Of course you want to do what I do, but do you want to do what I did? I love that. Do you want to do what I did? As a leader, it's a huge responsibility to practice the behaviors that you want others to follow. Personal development is not something that you just sit down and get done. You just sit down and you knock it out. It's not simply reading 10 pages a day or listening to a podcast while doing dishes or on your way to work. It's not about reading 52 books in a year. It's about developing yourself as a person. Personal development is taking those two words and putting them together. Developing yourself as a person. Otherwise, you guys, it's just information gathering. Personal development, it starts with self-awareness. That's where the process starts. Understanding who you are right now. Who am I right now? And then understanding who you need to be to reach those goals and dreams and to implement that vision that you have for yourself and you have for your team. Leaders first have to learn how to lead themselves. This was a hard lesson for me many years ago. Before I could lead this massive team that I had built as an emerald, I had to first learn how to lead myself and intentionally seek to grow my leadership lead. Leaders, they grow their skills of connection, communication, of influence. What are you doing to personally develop yourself as a leader? What are you doing to personally develop your leadership, regardless of your rank? Don't wait until you hit a rank that you think, oh, now I'm a leader. No, it starts now. I wish I would have started and been more serious about personal development much earlier on in my business. So I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to grow in and learn to develop the quality of leaders that I want on my team? Once you get clear on who you are, where you are now, and who you need to be as a leader, then you can then be able to actually look and seek out resources to help close that gap. And this does take work. It takes intentionality, but it is worth the effort. You guys, nothing worthwhile is easy. I have found that most things in my life that are truly fulfilling are an uphill climb. This has definitely been true for me, and it's definitely been true not just in my personal life, but also in my business. So I want you to start right now. I want you to start today developing this personal development plan. So maybe you start by jotting down some leaders that you admire. Maybe 5 to 10 names of people that you look up to and you admire. And then I want you to write next to their name a few of the qualities that you admire in those leaders. You may admire how they make others feel, maybe how they communicate. Maybe their ability to inspire and motivate people. Maybe you admire their confidence. Maybe you admire their influence on social media. Maybe you admire that they push themselves to do those hard things and they push their team. Maybe you admire the duplicatable systems they've created or how they coach or how they recruit high quality people. Maybe you admire their character and their integrity. It can and will be multiple things, right? This is the start. This is the start for you in defining what that pinnacle of leadership looks like for you. And then beside each characteristic, I want you to be honest and rate yourself from maybe a 1 to 10 on those skills or qualities that you personally want to grow in. That said, we all have different strengths, right? So this isn't about becoming someone else or comparing yourself to someone else to where it paralyzes you, but instead, it's looking at those leadership skills that are not necessarily natural to us, but they can be learned. I believe that vast majority of the skills that we need in this business and the skills we need in leadership can be learned. For example, you guys, I have seen leaders who are now amazing trainers. They bring so much value to their team. They are learning and then they are teaching what they are learning, but they grew into that skill. I'm thinking of someone specifically who I saw their first couple of videos or their first couple of Zoom trainings, and I wouldn't have said, you know what? They are naturally good at that. They are naturally an amazing transfer of information. They are an amazing trainer. No, but it's something they worked on and they grew in. And this specific person that I'm thinking of, don't message me, I'm not going to give a name. They are now an amazing trainer. They share their wisdom, the things they learn, and the things they are growing in, and they share that to their teams. They teach those skills to their teams. Most skills can be learned, you all, with intentionality and willingness, with a key emphasis on willingness. So after we've done that, next we look at how do we bridge that gap? Honestly, there's really no specific formula. I wish there was, but that will look different for every single person. So, I don't know, what if it looked like getting clear on these three things, right? So, not a specific formula, but if there was a specific formula, maybe it would look like getting clear on these three things. Where am I now? Where do I need to go? And then creating a plan to bridge the gap between those two. Maybe you need to hire a coach or a mentor. Maybe it's your sponsor that you meet with weekly. It might be group coaching or investing in a course, maybe a social media course that you invest in. Your resources may be books or podcasts or a sideline partner who has modeled where you want to go. It may be starting therapy. That was a big one for me. I had avoided therapy for years. But you know what? I noticed that the same insecurities, the same fears, the same lack of confidence kept coming up for me. And so I knew that I had to address some issues in my life if I wanted to grow as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, and as a leader to my team. And likely, you guys, all those things I mentioned, it's likely going to be a combination of several of those. So don't limit yourself to one thing where you say, okay, my thing is going to be, I'm going to hire a coach. No, it may be that you are looking for specific books that of areas you need to grow in, and you're hiring a therapist, and you're going to do group coaching. It's likely going to be several of those things to bridge the gap between who am I, where am I now, where do I need to go in my leadership. Here's the deal. If you have found yourself in the same place month after month or year after year, something has to change. You cannot expect to have different results if you are not doing anything different. So if you're looking at your business or where you are in your leadership and you're feeling like, you know what, I feel like I've been stagnant. I've been in this place for a bit. This is a telltale sign that you need a personal development plan to personally develop yourself, which will in turn develop your leadership. And just to say really quickly, this business is a do and then learn business. So even as you're working through these things, creating that vision, creating your personal development plan and implementing that, I still want you to keep taking action, even when it is uncomfortable or hard, because there's never a perfect time to start leading. There's never a perfect time to get into activity, right? We have to do and learn as we are growing. We are taking actions and we're learning from those, even as we are developing ourselves and developing our leadership. So I could talk about this for hours. It's one of my favorite topics, but I did want to leave you with a few book recommendations. I think we heard from a few from Whitney, and I wanted to add a couple. I believe she mentioned this book, Exactly What to Say. This is a fabulous book about creating influence and making impact for network marketing. This is one I've recommended so many times. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Another one by John Maxwell is everybody communicates, very few connect. That's also a really great one in growing connection and growing influence. This is a great oldie but a goodie, Millionaire by Halftime. I have referenced this book and looked back at this book so many times when I'm working with people because there's so many good tangible tips in this business. Again, if we aren't just being information gatherers, but we're implementing what we're learning. And then also, anything John Maxwell, you guys, but this one was really impactful on me. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This is a great one to read yourself. And then as you are developing leaders, to maybe do a book study with the people on your team as they are developing their leadership skills as well. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you grabbed a nugget from that. My challenge to you is to create that vision, to get clear about the vision that you have for yourself and for your team. And then as a part of that, you're developing a personal development plan so that you are very intentional about not just being a gatherer of information, but an implementer of what you are learning so that you can actually see growth in yourself and growth in your leadership. Thanks, you guys.